Yo. Okay, so, I wanted to get into the, why does the price go up and down the way it does? And what people kind of fail to realize is that the majority of people investing don't do a good job investing. Majority of people who invest really are trash at investing. They don't make the right decisions. They make very poor decisions. They make decisions a lot of the time based on emotion, right? Now, look, you can make any kind of investment decision you want to a degree anyway. But if you're willing to wait for your investment to mature, then it works out. If you do it, if you're not that experienced at investing, right? If you leave it in and you're willing to wait 2, 3, 5, 8, 10 years or less, in crypto, a lot of times it's less than that, much less than that. But in some other investments, it could be more. But if you're willing to wait long enough, until the investment matures, then you'll see an incredible return, right? No matter what you pick, it'll be a good enough return. But most of the time, people invest based on their personal, emotional needs and wants, right? And the majority of the market is investing in that kind of way, right? They're investing purely off emotion. Man, I had this friend of mine, and he had about 10 grand, and he wanted to put it towards filming a movie. It was his own movie. It was his personal movie that he had been working on for years, writing the script and whatnot. And he was super, it was his baby, right? And he had gotten 10 grand through whatever means he got it. And, or he had 15 at the time, actually. He had 15, and it was his idea to play crypto to make it, multiply, and then he can have more money for his production. And I told him, don't do it if you're going to spend it soon. But he didn't listen. And then I told him, okay, look, just put it in Bitcoin, because, at least if it's in Bitcoin, it won't fluctuate too bad, right? And you won't have things like what happened with Terra happen, because you're in Bitcoin. That's not going to happen. He didn't listen. And so he was in our crypto chat. We have a little crypto chat. He was in the crypto chat, and I was he said that he was in VeChain, and it went down like 5% or 8% or something like that, or 10% in a day. It went down 10%, right? And so his 15 turned into 13.5, something like that. It was around those numbers, right? His 15,000 turned into 13,500. And I said, look, bro, just leave it for a month. Don't even look at it, dude. Don't even look at it. Just leave it for a month. Don't touch it or anything. And I had a phone conversation with him, dude, just leave it. Just leave it in VeChain. That's a good coin. Just leave it. All right, don't touch it. So the very next day, I wake up. I'm looking through the coins like I normally do, and I see VeChain is up 30%. I'm like, hey, bruh, woo, touch it down. You just made 4 Gs. You know what I mean? And that was in one day. So he made back his 1,500 plus another 2,500 bucks. And he should be sitting at 17.5 now. You know what I mean? So I give him a call, and I'm like, hey, VeChain's up 30%. Let's go. And you know what he tells me? He says that he sold it yesterday because he couldn't handle the fact that it was at 13.5. You know what I mean? He emotionally couldn't deal with the fact that he had lost $1,500 off his $15,000 investment. Let me tell you, man, the majority of people in the space act exactly like this. They sell low and they buy high. And, so when you do that, when you just make decisions just purely off emotion, you're only gambling. You're not investing. What's the difference between investing and gambling? Investing is making calculated risks that, have pros and cons and benefits that outweigh each other. Gambling is not there's no pro and con. It's purely a game of chance. That's why you have odds, right? You have odds like, okay, you know what? If we're running the roulette wheel, right? Odds are 50-50. It's going to be on black or red, right? If you pick black or red. And now if you pick the numbers, if you pick all 35 numbers, right? Then you get paid out a 35x payout, because the chances of you winning one of those numbers was 1 in 35, right? So the more reward you get in a game when you're gambling, the higher the risk. It's proportionate to that. So, you could win 35 times your money because you're betting on one number out of 35, right? And I used to gamble every day, bro. I was a gambleaholic, okay? And so with investing, that's not the case, right? Nobody can tell you how much you're going to win, right? You're just going to make a good investment and it pans out. If you make a bad investment, then you made a bad investment. Like, it's just what it is, right? That's the difference between gambling and investing. Most people don't use logic and reason and cost benefit analysis or chart analysis, even technical analysis. Most people don't take the time to analyze the fundamentals of an investment, right? And so they make emotional decisions. They decide to do things emotionally. They see, all right, well, the coin is going down, my portfolio is going down in value, and so I should get out. My heart is telling me I should get out now because I don't like this feeling. I want it to stop. Please make it stop. The only way to make it stop is to get out, right? Then it goes up, just like my friend did. It goes up. And they say, man, I should have just stayed in. Now I don't like this feeling because I feel like I missed out. It hurts, make it stop. I'm going to buy back in. And this time it's going to work out. And they buy back in. You know what else they do when they buy back in? And maybe a lot of you go through this. I went through this too early on, you know what I mean? But maybe a lot of you go through this, where you feel like, okay, my portfolio went down from 15,000 to 13,500. I need to recoup my losses, right? I sold. I need to get back in. I need to get back to where I was. Man, these are very poor decisions that you can make, dude. Very poor decisions that you can make. So that last mindset where you need to now get back what you put in, right? It's so important for you to do that. I have to do it. You're playing in poker. They call it on tilt. You're playing on tilt, where you're just chasing wins. You know what I mean? Chasing. You're not waiting for the right time, the right investment, the right thing. You're just chasing everything, and that's the fastest way to kill off your investment, is to do exactly that. Don't get into if you make a bad decision investing, okay? First analyze. Was it a bad decision? Go back to your homework, dude. Did you correctly analyze the pros and cons of investing in this? Like, did you really? One rule I try to tell people: if you have a spouse, whether or not you have a spouse, act like you have one. And if you're about to buy something and your spouse walked in and was catching you buying some kind of investment, whether it's stocks, crypto, whatever, right? Land. Could you explain to your spouse in a way that makes sense why you should buy it? If you can't, you shouldn't buy it. And it may be a good investment, dude. It may be a good investment, but because you didn't do enough homework, because you can't explain why you're buying it, because you didn't do enough due diligence, you shouldn't buy it. It's not for you. You know what I mean? Because otherwise you're just gambling. And you don't know if you're making a bad investment or a good investment. You're just rolling the dice. You might as well just go down to the casino, dude. Hit the casino, go do that. At least your payout or loss will happen immediately. You know what I mean? You don't have to wait for it. You might as well just do that. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, man. The entire market, like the vast majority of people in the market, are making emotional decisions. Bitcoin drops 10%, a bunch of people sell, right? Maybe a whale sold. Maybe a bunch of rich folks got together, colluded to sell at the same time, and they sold, and then they dropped the price 10%. But what do other people do? The reason why they do it is because people who cannot handle a 10% drop People who think, oh, my $3,000 portfolio just lost $300. What do? They sell low. They sell low. You know what I mean? And then it drops some more. And then these guys who initiated the sell come in and buy it back up and push the price back up. That's what they do, man. This is how they roll, because they know that you can't handle it. You can't deal with it. They know it, dude. They know it. It's not even a question. And it's been like this far longer than I've been alive. Far longer than I've been alive, man. This is how the reasoning has been for a lot of people. Don't get caught in this kind of habit, this trap. Don't make emotional decisions. And look, I get it, man. You know, you feel like you lost. Excuse me. You feel like you lost because the value of your portfolio went down. But how long does that last? A day, 2 days, an hour, a week, a month, 2 months? And then it goes back up. 5 months, then it goes back up. And now what? You know what I mean? Why'd you sell? Did you need the money at that point? What if the portfolio was high, right? Would you sell and get the money out? Nah, because you'd be like, yo, nah, I'm gonna wait for it to get even higher than that. You know what I'm saying? Because you don't need the money. You just want the portfolio number to look bigger, right? This is a very emotional pattern of thinking, extremely emotional pattern of thinking. Bro, don't do that. Don't get caught in this kind of trap. Please don't. You will lead yourself into absolute ruin. You know what I mean? And, you know, the same goes for good investments. Like, if you don't know why you're saying yes to something, you should probably find out why you say no to something. And it could be a plethora of reasons. Like, maybe you don't have time to, like, track it and keep in touch with it. And that may be what you need to do in order to pull the trigger on something. Maybe you need to stay involved with it and track it and do all that stuff. It's cool, man. You don't have time? Hey, you don't have time. Can't do it, right? That makes it a bad investment because you don't have the time. If you had the time to do that, then maybe it would be a good investment, but because you don't have time, you can't do it. You know what I mean? Maybe you don't have the funds. Maybe it's a great investment opportunity, but you're unable to take advantage of it right now. That's okay. Hey, you don't got the money. Maybe you don't have the money to do it right? Where you might need to do it in such a way that is, that allows you to see the entire investment through to its maturity. You know what I mean? But you don't have the funds for it. You can't do it right now, right? But a lot of the time, if you're saying no, it's typically because you just don't have a good feeling about it. And, a lot of the times, trust your gut. That's okay. You can trust your gut. But if you only look at your gut without using your brain to analyze the facts surrounding an investment or a decision that you make, and it could be any kind of decision, it doesn't even have to be an investment. But if you don't know what you're saying no to, that also is poor investment, what's it called? It's like poor investment management, you could say. You know what I mean? That's like poor investing, I should say. You know what I mean? You're not taking the time to learn. If I see, people shill me coins all the time, right? But if I don't look at it, at least for a little bit, 10, 20 minutes, 30 minutes, taking a look at something, right? That 30 minutes that I didn't spend on due diligence just so I could say no may cost me thousands of dollars because I didn't take advantage of an opportunity that presented itself. And there's been a bunch of those, you know what I mean? Where I just didn't have the time at the time, and maybe a week went by and the thing popped and I missed it. And I was like, damn, you know what I mean? But so I'm telling you from like experience, right? I do that, you know what I mean? But just, for me, the way I look at it, I try as much as possible anyway to look at it like this, to where if I could spend 20 minutes, if I could spend 30 minutes looking at something to decide on whether or not I could do it, I should. I really should take the time. It's a small amount of time. If you go to work and you work for $50 an hour, $100 an hour, $20 an hour, $200 an hour, $500 an hour, whatever your hourly wage is, right? If you go to work and you spend an hour and you make that amount of money, it's worth it. It's worth it to take an hour to spend, to look at an investment properly, accurately, to know if you could take advantage of that, right? Because in that hour that you spend, that might make you $1,000, $2,000, $20,000, $500,000, whatever it is, I don't know. But it could make you that money if you just took the time to take a look at it. And so when you see the market moving the way it does, keep in mind, man, people who are just holding on and hodling and just being cool, they're not doing all that. That's not them doing that. That's not seasoned investors doing that, making those drastic movements. Those are people who are emotional, extremely emotional, making very emotional decisions about their investments. And even today, man, I got to catch myself thinking emotionally too. You know what I mean? And that's me. I'm giving you this lecture about it right now. You're never really like, you're a human being. You know what I mean? You're never devoid of emotion unless you're like a psychopath or something like that. Whatever it is, psychopath, that's psychopath. Unless you're one of those, right? But, you know, it's important for you to catch yourself. It's important for you to analyze the kind of mindset that you're in when it comes to investing and investment decisions that you make. So yeah, man, that's my 2 cents about, you know, rising above emotion into the thinking of God, as is put by Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad. But it's, you know, you should really do that. You know, it's not that you don't have emotion. It's just that you don't settle there, right? You can assess your emotions. They're great indicators of, you know, good and bad things, right? They're great indicators of a lot of different kinds of elements of a situation, but you can't stay there and make your decision there, all right? So yeah, man, it's my 2 cents. Love you. Be safe. Peace.